In this video, we will learn to apply validations on the form fields using JavaScript. All the validations which we apply works on the submission of the form. Whenever we click the button, we will get to know whether the field value is valid or not. I clicked on the register button and I got an error message, enter only alphabets length 3 to 30. Whatever error is, it will come next to the element in which the error is. I have got this error for name. Next, the error is enter exactly 10 numbers. This is for phone number. I will get error in all the fields in the similar way just next to the element. Age, email, for password. The password and re-enter password fields should match. So I will get an error, password do not match. The password matches. Now select gender. I have to select the gender. Then I have to select at least 2 hobbies. One hobby will not work. I have to select at least 2 hobbies. When all the values, all the validations are fulfilled, the form is submitted. These simple validations will be applied with JS. This is the HTML for the form. To show the error, I have created a span with the class invalid. The error will be showed in this span tag, the input tag and the span tag. This is the basic CSS. I have created a JS file in which I have created the regular expressions. These expressions need to be checked against the field values. All these validations will occur on the form submission. Firstly, let's take form in a variable. On the submission of form, whatever validation I have to check, I will code here. But on submission of a form, the page is reloaded and the form is submitted to the next page. To prevent that default event of form, I will use prevent default function. This function will prevent the reloading of the form of the page whenever I click on the submit button. Let's check whether whether the JS is working or not. Whenever now if I click on register button, an alert, I should get an alert. Before that, I need to link this JS in this HTML file using the script tag. I got an alert, that means my JS is working. Let's start coding. To check all the elements, I need all the elements in JS. I will get all the elements in variables. All the elements, I have made all the input elements with this attribute name. Name, name phone, name age, name email, etc. By using this attribute, I will get all the elements here. These are all the elements I needed. Now I need the radio buttons, but I have two radio buttons and I want both. So I will use another function for this, the next version of query selector, that is query selector all. Similarly for checkboxes, I've got all the elements which were required for the validation. Now, all these all these elements needs to be checked against these regular expressions. To prevent the redundancy of code, I will make a function for checking. Name check. You can put any name for the function. In this, I need to pass some parameters. First is the element which needs to be checked. Next will be the expression against which the element will be checked, and third will be the message which I need to print in the span tag which I have provided, which I have made after this input tag, this span. Now to check I will use if the element dot value matches the expression, if it matches, let's write the else part before it, else if it does not matches, what we have to do is we have to put this message in the span tag which is placed after this input tag. To get this span tag, I will use element dot next element sibling. Next element sibling dot inner HTML is equal to the message. Message will be the message I passed here. If this is true, this will happen and I will return false. But if this is not true, that means if the value matches, then I will remove the message from next element sibling of this tag. That is, I will make it empty and alert true. This is a basic function we will call with all the elements and the expression. Here I have to call the function. Again I will use if. Let's check it with name. Name expression will be checked against the name element. Message will be, message can be of your own choice. Enter a valid name and I will get length also 3 to 50. Let's check the check function for one text field only. I've reloaded the page. Let's check in the console. Line number 32. Okay. I have to return true, not alert true. Console helps us whenever we get an error in JavaScript. So no error. Let's check. Okay. I have got an error. Enter a valid name length 3 to 50. This message, what I have passed here, is written in the next element sibling of the element, that is the span tag after the input tag. I have to do the same with all the other fields also. Let's check for the next field, that is phone. Phone will be checked with phone expression, and the message will be enter a valid phone number. Enter a valid 10-digit phone number to be precise. Next will be age, if check age with age expression. I've omitted email after age. So before password, I need to check the email with email expression, and the message goes like enter a valid email. I have to put this inside this. After the password, I need to check whether the password and confirm password field matches. For that, I need to create another function. Let's name it check2. What this will do, this will take two elements and matches the values, element 1 and element 2. If element 1 dot value is equal to element 2 dot value, if this is not true, if the password does not matches, then what I need to do is element 2 dot next element sibling dot inner HTML is equal to message. I need to show the message in this in the span next to this element and return false. If this is not the case, if the value matches, then I need to clear out the message element 2 dot next element sibling dot inner HTML is equal to empty and return true. I have to call this check2 with password and confirm password fields. If check2 password and confirm password, message goes like password does not matches or password do not match. Uh, let's check this before proceeding. Let's submit the form if these conditions are true. Reloading the page and checking it and getting an error for name. Let's write on name, phone number, age, email, strong password I need. Okay. I need to put the same password as I put in this field. Okay. If this and this, both the values matches and all the above fields have valid value, then my form is submitted. Now I need to develop a validation for this and this, for the radio buttons and the checkboxes. But these two functions will not work for both of them. I need to create another function named check3. In this, I need an element that is the button, then a message. Another, I am taking a valid element count. This is for because I am taking this as I need one element to be checked in case of radio buttons and at least two elements checked in the case of checkboxes. So this will be 1 in the case of radio buttons and this will be 2 in the case of checkboxes. Let's use a variable count. I'm using this to count how many checkboxes or how many radio buttons are checked. To get the number of elements, that is to get both the radio buttons, I have used for each loop so that I get both the radio buttons in here. In case of checkboxes, I will get all the checkboxes, all the 4 or 5 checkboxes I have put in here. For each has been used to iterate to the elements. In this, I will use if current dot checked. This says if the current button, whether it is a radio button or a checkbox, it is checked, I will increment the count variable. So whenever I will click on a button, the count variable will be incremented. Now I need to check whether it is 1 or 2. The count variable needs to be greater than or is equal to the valid element count I have passed. If this is the case, that is no error. If this is not the case, that is there is error, I need to put an error message in the span tag. But in case of gender or hobbies, the input buttons contains a label for the name. So what I have done is I have combined these both the radio buttons in a div called gender and I have made a span after this div. So I have to access this span in JavaScript. This is placed after the parent tag of this element of this input. So how to get it? Element, I will use 0th index because in element I am getting a collection of the radio buttons. I need to get the first radio button or the second radio button. That's why I'm using here index. Element 0 dot to reach the parent element keyword will be used. Parent element because this input have two parents above this, two parent tag, and and this parent tag has the next element sibling as span. So here I will write next element sibling dot inner HTML is equal to the message. This is the false condition. I will return false. But if this is not the condition, that is, I have the required number of boxes checked, I need to clear this out and return true as well. I need to call this function with checkboxes and radio buttons. If then check 3, radios are the elements I need to pass. Then I need the message in radio buttons. The message will be select gender and the count. I need only one radio button to be checked. Let's check the functions first with the radio buttons. Let's reload the page and open the console to be on safe side. Uh, right now I'm not getting an error. Let's check if I am submitting the form. I'm getting an error for, similarly I will get an error for all the fields. Phone number, age, email ID, password, and re-enter password as well. Okay, the value does not match. Let's enter it again. Okay, I need to select a gender. So my validation, my check3 function works properly. If I select a gender, form is submitted. Now let's call this function with radio buttons as well. In case of checkboxes, the message goes like select at least 2 hobbies and the valid email count will be, valid element count will be 2. If all this works, my form will be submitted. I've already checked for these elements, so now I'm putting the values. I get an error message of selecting 2 hobbies. If I am selecting 2 hobbies, the form will be submitted. If I put any wrong values in this, I am getting an error. Enter a valid name. Let's enter a valid name, phone number, the age, the email, password do not matches. I need to select 2 hobbies and there you go, the form is submitted. In the simple way, we can apply form validations using JavaScript.